Hi everybody, welcome once again to our Low on Health year-end review. These are of course just a bunch of video of me culminating everything in my Besides of Gaming series, in which case this particular video will be covering the 2009 US American TV shows that I watched. This of course will encompass shows that I rewatched and started watching in 2009. Most of them actually I rewatched a lot of shows because I was very displeased with a lot of American shows going forward. So let's go ahead and just get this ball rolling here. A lot of YouTube videos and clips and whatnot. The first series I'm going to talk about is going to be 30 Rock. Now, 30 Rock is a series in which case I'm still currently constantly watching, and I'm always very much entertained by it. And it's currently actually a series right now I'm going back through with Netflix and watching from season 1 up to the current. And I just enjoy it immensely. The writing is great. Tina Fey is great. Tracy Morgan is awesome. Baldwin is great. It's just a good, solid cast of people, and every year they have not disappointed. It's basically part of my normal year watching. Moving on here, the next I want to talk about, of course, is Family Guy. In which case, everybody knows what Family Guy is, and everybody pretty much has either loves it or hates it, and I love it immensely. I always enjoy it, and once again, it's just one of those series that hasn't been disappointing to me. I mean, some series I've lost interest in them. But with Family Guy, I haven't, and it is one of those things when it's not on the air and when it's in the lull or when the holidays are around and they don't put new episodes out, I do get kind of and have to go watch old episodes of all the old seasons and whatnot, because Family Guy is just a great series, and I am really happy that they constantly put out those Christmas specials and extra things and whatnot. And I just enjoy Family Guy. It's just a good, you gotta love the slideaways where he tails off and he does something else. Moving on here, next series I'm going to talk about is going to be Scrubs. I didn't really watch Scrubs in the beginning. I basically started watching it off of Comedy Central when I realized it was kind of like almost like a real life Family Guy, to where all of his little side heads and all of his little fadeaways and whatnot actually get played out. But it's just a really good cast of characters. I enjoy them. They're really good actors, and I thought it was great. The Perry character particularly was my favorite character of all because of his passive aggressiveness. But and him being the teacher, but he loves his students, but he's just mean about it. But I love Scrubs. Sad it's off the air. This whole Scrubs medical school didn't really do that great. Moving on here, The Office. Now, I enjoyed The Office. Once again, this is a series I didn't get into until the second season, in which case Casino Night is one of the best shows I've ever watched. One of the best TV episodes ever, in my opinion, Casino Night, which was the season 2 finale for Office. But after that, I went ahead and watched the first season, which was, of course, just the 6 episodes, and rewatched the second season. And I've been following it up to a certain point. I've currently stopped watching it. I'll probably explain that in my 2010 TV. But I enjoyed Office immensely up to the second season. It kind of started peter off here and there. It's the classic, Jim and Diane thing. Like, what do you do when you have the two people that aren't supposed to be together, but they want to be together? And then once you do get them together, what happens after that? It kind of, to me, goes downhill. But I'll discuss that later. But Office, I enjoyed watching it to a point. Next series is going to be South Park. Now, of course, this is... South Park has just always been kind of hit or miss, but almost, on average, always just been great. This, of course, is what the Cripple Fight, one of my favorite episodes, was basically modeled after, which is the fight scene they live. In which case, it's just funny. South Park on a whole is just one of those series that I will watch every single year. There'll be hit or miss episodes. I'm trying to remember what episode. The episode that had Cripple Fight, Shit Hits the Fan, and Butters episode, and also I forgot what the other one, Scott Tenorman Must Die. I think that was all in one season. I want to say season 5 or season 7 or something. I wish I could remember off the top of my head. But that was probably my favorite season overall. Early South Park is very kind of immature and whatnot, and I definitely like to see how it's evolved over the years. In which case, it's just one of those things I look forward to watching every year.
Just let them have it out, Susan. They'll run out of steam soon.
Yeah, this is just funny. Moving on here. Next is going to be, of course, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, in which case, at this point, it was over. What I did is I had the Watchers DVD collection and actually went through, it was very ambitious, watched all of Buffy, all the seasons back to back, and I listened to every single commentary for each episode, in which case, I enjoy that immensely. I love commentary where they explain this or that, especially when it comes down to like plot development or kind of shooting angles and production stuff. I love that immensely about commentary. And right now, Season 8, the comic book season, will be ending very soon. But that's something I did in 2009 is I rewatched all of Buffy, in which case I enjoyed it immensely. I love Joss Whedon's work. I haven't gotten into Dollhouse or Angel, but Buffy was just a solid cast of characters, and I enjoyed it immensely. And of course, yeah, I have to recommend it to everybody. I mean, if you can't like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, then you probably don't relate to a lot of things I enjoy, and that's to each their own. Next series I'm going to talk about, of course, is Firefly. Let's go ahead and just do it next show, another Joss Whedon thing. Firefly, actually, after Buffy, I decided to, I rented the Firefly on Blu-ray so I could watch it in high def. And then, once again, I decided to listen to all the commentaries, all the behind the scenes, all the making of stuff. If you know me, you know I love all that production element stuff immensely. And with Firefly, it was really cool to kind of see what they were doing, like, production-wise, because of how Fox wanted to do this or that, and they kind of gave Joss Whedon enough leeway to do what he wanted to do shot-wise and, production-wise. But overall, it just kind of fell flat, even though it's a great series. I'm really happy they were able to do their movie and kind of give it a proper send-off. And it is sad to see it end. It was, once again, just a really, really classic sci-fi series. And once again, if you can't enjoy Firefly or Serenity, then you probably aren't a friend of mine or share any of my interests. But thank you for watching these. Moving on here, the next one we'll talk about is going to be Legend of the Seeker. This was a series, once again, it was just every now and then on my whatever, I'll give this US show a try, and I did. And it reminded me much like the old school Xena Warrior Princess, those type of tongue-in-cheek action-adventure series, in which case it was okay. I mean, the first season ended well, and I started watching the second season and just couldn't get into it anymore. But it was a decent little world, decent little like fantasy world, and I lean towards that type of storytelling and whatnot. But it was good. I enjoyed Legend of the Seeker the first season and kind of stopped watching it after the second one. Moving on here, the next one we'll talk about is this is an oldie, Earth 2. If any of you remember Earth 2 from way back in the day, settlers go to a different world to kind of colonize it, Earth 2. And there's already like another sentient life form living there and whatnot, and just how they deal with it. I like this very much because it was very much kind of a hard science. Hard sci-fi series. Really wasn't like transporters or some type of magical like energy supply whatnot. It's very much kind of colonialistic, where you basically have settlers going out and dealing with the rough and tough landscapes and just trying to get by and trying to make a civilization, carve a life out for themselves. And I like that point to it. I really did enjoy Earth 2. It's kind of sad how it ended. I did read a couple of things on Wikipedia and whatnot, talking to like the creators and whatnot, and they kind of explained what they were going to do down the line for what was going to happen. And it was a pretty cool show, and I definitely recommend it. I think it's on Netflix. Go and give it a watch if you have a good remembrance of it. Moving on here, SeaQuest DSV. Man, I could probably talk about this for too long. This is another series back in 2009 I decided to rewatch thanks to Netflix. In which case, I will mention this right off the bat. I was a huge Jonathan Brandis fan back in the day. Ladybug's Sidekick, of course, Deep Space, not Deep Space Nine, SeaQuest. I enjoyed just the overall premise. I'm a bit. I used to live in Virginia Beach, in which case that was a very kind of a beach community. In which case, the ocean and everything was real cool. A lot of people would surf or boogie board, and I was very much interested in like dolphins and marine biology and whales and all. Did whale sightseeing and stuff. In which case, SeaQuest DSV, which is really cool. They kind of have like a sci-fi show place on Earth in the ocean. Kind of the same principles to an extent. And I will say this, though. It was good the first couple seasons, then it starts to trail off. And once they bring in Ironsides, I was like, ooh, I can't watch this anymore. And then they did the whole alien thing, too. That was just crazy. But the first couple seasons of SeaQuest is really cool just because it kind of gave like a near future. It wasn't like hundreds of years in the future, only like 50 or 100. The next thing I want to talk about is The Future is Wild. In 2009, thanks to Netflix yet again, I will mention I watched a bunch of like documentaries of things that were in the past. The BBC did a lot of past things. And there was a bunch of other stuff about the future, in which case The Future is Wild basically takes what would happen if Earth, if we as a human race decided to leave Earth after, like, let's say a couple thousand years, and what would happen to Earth and its inhabitants, its animals, and its continents and everything in, like, I think 20 million, 50 million, then 100 million years. What would happen before the sun exploded and knocked the Earth out. So it's really cool to kind of see where evolution could take place and what could happen with animals and whatnot in the future. And this would actually be like the third or fourth time I would watch The Future is Wild. I really do enjoy these types of series, and I, for some reason, always enjoy rewatching them. Moving on here, the next one we'll talk about is going to be Alien Planet. Once again, this is just kind of like The Future is Wild, but this one, of course, takes place where they were mentioning, what would happen on other planets. If other planets were more based with like silicone instead of carbon, what would other planets, if we sent out probes, what they would entail, what they would discover and whatnot. And I really just kind of enjoy this type of what if stuff. In which case, they always have the same type of scientists on all these things explaining, their parts and why they think this would evolve to that or why this would be like that. But I do enjoy these type of what if things. And there was also a bunch of series of stuff like this where like if humans left the Earth, like if there's like a rapture or disease and whatnot, what would happen to different cities, power plants, and roads, and how the Earth would evolve like in a shorter time span of like 20, 50, 100 years, how the Earth would change and whatnot. But that's really kind of about it for 2009. These are the kind of shows I watched. Hopefully, maybe I gave you some recommendations that you didn't know about, or once again, this is kind of a piece of what I'm interested in and what I find entertaining. So, as always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.